And we couldn't have a better guest now than California Senator Dianne Feinstein, who of course serves on the Intelligence Committee and is the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee about to hold those hearings on Brett Kavanaugh, and joins me now from the Russell Building. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator, I first of all wanted to ask you about this and about the suggestion that Sessions should go. Don McGahn is about to leave, according to the president's Twitter feed. First of all, what about Sessions, the Attorney General? How do you see that move?
Well, I see that move as a firing out of pique, and it's really way below president's level. I see the Justice Department as being responsible to the people of the country, not the president, and the Attorney General the same way. I see nothing of any kind of misconduct by Senator Sessions as the head of the department. And again, clearly, the president, as he said many times, can't get over his not recusing himself in the Mueller investigation. And of course, recusal is absolutely the right thing for the Attorney General to have done. Showed me that he had courage and that he had a conviction. And I thought it was a very positive thing.
And is there any situation where this could actually play into an obstruction issue, to be trying to push Sessions out, which could lead to the firing of Rod Rosenstein, which could lead to a domino effect that would affect the Mueller probe?
Well, I think that this theory is alive and well. And I think we're going to have to wait and see what Mueller finds. But if I understand what Mr. Cohen has said, the president directed him to essentially commit a felony. And that's obstruction of justice. So we're going to have to wait and see.
Under the laws that now obtain, there doesn't necessarily have to be a hearing to replace and confirm a new Attorney General, because there could be an appointment under the Vacancy Act, and he or she could be the new Attorney General, and it could be anyone who has already been confirmed to a position from any department. Any confirmed office holder could become the acting Attorney General for at least a year.
All I can say to that, Andrea, is wow. I certainly didn't know that. And I've been here for a while, and I try to do my work. Congratulations. But that's a real problem as I see it, because there should be public hearings on whomever takes this office. I certainly hope the president isn't going to do this. This idea that the president gives the head of the Justice Department orders is one that I don't subscribe to either. The law is the law, and all these people at Justice are there to carry out the law. They're not members of the president's staff.
Speaking of the president's staff, the White House counsel technically is the counsel for the office of the presidency, not the personal lawyer of this president. And it seems as though he's being punished with his departure, long rumored, but announced on Twitter, on the president's Twitter feed today.
Well, I mean, that's just one more surprise in a long line of surprises. It certainly doesn't show any grace or thankfulness. It's just, here's my message, you're out. We've had a very good relationship with Mr. McGahn. There's a lot of concern over the Ninth Circuit, and both Senator Harris and I work together and have a screening committee, and we have both met with him and discussed various appointments. And I think for the Ninth Circuit, I think that's very helpful. So everything I know about Mr. McGahn is entirely positive.
Brett Kavanaugh, the hearings start on Tuesday and Wednesday. What do you want to hear from this nominee?
Well, this is going to be a very interesting hearing because there is very deep concern on the Democratic side of the aisle about this nominee. And I think, let me begin by saying we've had a great deal of trouble to get the documents that are necessary. And let me give you a point of comparison. We got 99% of Elena Kagan's White House records. We have 4% of Kavanaugh's White House records. These records are important because you look at emails and you see where 12 years ago, when he was before the committee for an appellate court position, he said one thing. In the White House, he said another. And then he may have said a third different thing. So you at least know that this man is not consistent on all fronts. So I think this is a very big hearing, our biggest. He will control, most likely, the majority of the court on key issues. Certainly issues of presidential supremacy, in which he's a very strong believer. He doesn't even believe that the president should be investigated. He believes that there are certain commissions, like the FEC and others, that the president can just remove the head of at will and replace. And so it is a very strong, arbitrary position for presidential supremacy. And here we have a man that a good friend has said he violated the law, committed a felony, gave him instructions to carry out certain orders. And that, of course, is Mr. Cohen.
Finally, I wanted to ask you about John McCain. You were on opposite sides of the aisle, but typically, John McCain stood with you on the whole issue of waterboarding and torture.
Yes.
He was your partner. He had your back. What are your thoughts about him as we memorialize him this week?
Well, my thoughts about him are very strong. He's going to be really missed. When the torture report came out, it was very controversial. And I went to the floor. As soon as I finished, I turned around, and McCain was right there speaking. We subsequently actually went to Guantanamo. This is kind of a cute story. And as you know, the detention facilities there are very difficult, if not deplorable. But the people there are all accused of having participated in terrorist attacks of one kind or another against our country. And coming home on the plane, we were talking about his arrest, his detention in Hanoi, at the Hanoi Hilton. And he told us about how he and his colleagues developed a tap code so they could tap on the wall and communicate. This tap code was like a Morse code. And so as we were flying in the air, he was tapping and saying what the tapping meant. And to this very day, he retained that. And that was amazing to me. He was a very independent. He could have very sobering outbursts. But when the chips were down, Donald McCain was there. And he was there with heart and muscle. And it made a difference. It makes a difference to the Senate. And I know it made a difference to the Republican Party. And yes, it made a difference for those of us who are Democrats as well. John McCain, in my book, is a great hero.
Thank you so much for your reflections on John McCain. Thank you, Senator. It's great to see you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.